From inspiration to the vending table, let's talk about the process behind handmade and repurposed creations. Good evening, everyone. I'm Queen Wells. When most people walk through a craft fair or a vending event, they see finished product sitting neatly on a table. What they usually don't see is everything that happens before that event even begins. Behind every handmade item is a process that starts long before the setup of a vendor table. It involves finding inspiration, gathering materials, creating product, and preparing to interact with your customers. My interest in this topic comes from several creative experiences throughout my life. I have experience in custom cake decorating, participating in vending events, public speaking, and being mostly self-taught when it comes to my artistic projects. Each of those experiences has shaped how I approach creativity, presentation, and connecting with people. Today, I will explain the process behind creating handmade, repurposed items and preparing for craft vending events. Specifically, I will discuss where inspiration and materials come from, how those materials become finished product, and how preparation and customer interaction play an important role during vending events. Every project begins with inspiration. For me, inspiration can come from almost anywhere. Sometimes it comes from current fashion, color combinations, patterns, seasonal themes, or even something I happen to see while I'm shopping. Once I have an idea, the next step is finding the materials. Many of the items I create with begin with materials that might otherwise be overlooked or thrown away. I often thrift materials or repurpose items such as fabric scraps or fabric newspaper. For example, newspaper can be transformed into decorative figurines while leftover fabric can become part of a completely new creation. According to the United Nations Environment Program, textile waste continues to be a growing environmental concern, which makes repurposing materials an increasingly valuable creative practice. This goal is not simply to reuse materials. The goal is to look at something ordinary and imagine what it could become. Once inspiration and materials come together, the creative process can begin. After gathering materials and developing ideas, the next step is turning those ideas into actual product. This is the stage where creativity and patience work together. Depending on the project, materials may be cut, shaped, painted, glued, sewn, or combined with other materials. Sometimes a project turns out exactly as planned, and other times it changes completely during the process. One thing I learned through cake decorating and other creative projects is the attention to detail really matters. Small details can completely change the final appearance of a piece. At the same time, creating handmade products often requires flexibility. Since many repurposed materials are unique, there's usually some trial and error involved. What starts as a pile of materials slowly becomes a finished product, and it's ready to be displayed. However, creating the product is only part of the process. Once the products are completed, attention shifts from creating them to preparing them for the actual vending event. Many people assume the work is finished once the products are made, but vending requires another set of skills. Preparation begins with organizing products, deciding how they will be displayed, creating signs, and making sure everything is ready for the event. The presentation of a vendor table can make a difference because it is often the first thing visitors notice. Just as important is interacting with your customers. People are often curious about how handmade items are created. They ask questions about materials and techniques and where ideas come from. Being able to explain the process clearly helps customers to better understand the work behind each piece. In many ways, vending events combine creativity and communication. Creating the product is important, but so is sharing the story behind them and helping people to appreciate the time and effort that went into making them. Through my own experiences, I've learned that customers' interaction is just as much a part of the process as creating the items themselves. So today, I explained the process behind handmade repurposed creations and preparation for crafting events. We looked at how inspiration and materials are gathered, how those materials are transformed into finished product, and how preparation and customer interaction contribute to a successful vending experience. While visitors may only see the finished items on display, there is an entire creative process behind every table. From finding inspiration to sharing the finished work with customers, each step plays an important role in bringing handmade creations to life. Thank you.